Chapter 4. I almost felt relief when I ran into two more zombies. Now that I knew what to do, it was just some sickening sort of exercise. I only killed one of them. The other, I just popped its rifle, then shot out its knees and hips. I wanted it alive. Maybe to answer some questions before I smashed in the curling mouth with the yellow teeth. I didn't recognize this one. It was a former UAC worker, used to be a man. It didn't have even as much mind left as had Zombie Girl, but this time, I let it babble for some time. Big, coming through, big, gate is the key, killing, killing, all the killing. Coming through, coming to kill you all, the gate is the key, hell and dams is the key, coming through the gate. Phobos. Fear, 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 fear. Coming to Phobos, coming from Phobos, crossing the sticks, pick up sticks. Sticks is the key. I waited until it started repeating itself. After a moment, a chill crept down my neck. The thing was repeating itself exactly, like a tape loop. Suddenly more scared than I had been in hours, I put it out of its misery, and mine. I backed up into a dark alcove, praying nobody had a light amp, glasses, or an infrared sensor. I needed to think this through. A single strip of hellishly bright luminescence flickered off and on high in the center of the ceiling. A bare sun bulb was all that was left of the lighting system. The strobe effect made shadows look like monsters, creeping toward me. But I didn't smell any rotten citrus, and heard none of the characteristic zombie gibbering, just a strange clicking sound ahead, like a dolphin with laryngitis. I figured I was safe for the moment. Phobos was pretty obvious. They were here, at Phobos base. They came to Phobos, but what did the thing mean saying they were coming from Phobos? I started feeling nauseated. My skin began to creep up and down my bones. If the zombie didn't distinguish between yesterday, today, and tomorrow, then maybe it was telling me that Phobos was not the final target of the invasion. They were going to cross the river Styx, the river of the dead in Greek mythology. And what was on the other side? Well, hell, I suppose. Hades. But wait, if you were starting from hell, then crossing the Styx took you to. I swallowed the nausea back down. Sweat dripped down my forehead, stinging my eyes. The target was Earth, terra mostly firma, home sweet hovel. I accepted the fact that I was a dead man. After 4 years of Catholic school, run by Father Bartolomeo, Society of Jesus, I had always thought I was pretty much prayed out. Certainly, even after 4 years in the Corps, the last 3 in light drop infantry, I hadn't had a word to say to the big guy, if he were even listening. But now, for the first time, after a cumulative 17 weeks of actual combat intricate into 4 years of military life, I finally understood that stupid line about there being no atheists in foxholes. I didn't use the words that the Jesuits taught me, but I know who I was talking to, begging for the guts and skill not to hose up. Suicide mission was a weak term for what I was doing. I'm as afraid to die as the next jarhead, but goddamn it, I didn't want to be damned as a walking dead. I told the big guy what I'd done wrong in the last 7 years and promised him a lifetime of penance if he'd just forgive me and send me into battle Schreiben. It was a hollow offer. I knew that lifetime was probably measured in hours. Thank God it's the thought that counts. Taking a breath, I swung my rifle around, finger outside the trigger guard, and stepped out of the alcove. I continued around a corner toward the clicking noise. Suddenly I saw what looked like a working radio. Hurrying over too quickly. For caution's sake, I saw that only the front part of the mechanism remained. The back was ripped out in a way that showed clear sabotage. Up to that moment, it had seemed possible that the radios were destroyed accidentally. Casualties of battle, but this was clear evidence of at least human-level tactics. Far beyond what I'd imagined the zombies could do. There was somebody else wandering around here. If I hunted long enough, I figured I'd find it, if it or they didn't find me first. Turning a corner in the corridor, I saw more evidence of some kind of strategy. On the wall, a map to the installation had been burned beyond recognition, while the space around it was only slightly singed. Whoever that other something or somebody was, it knew that more of us would be coming after it. It didn't want us to be able to find our way. Ahead was a hatchway, the door open. The light directly over it was broken. but a steady, green glow emanated from beyond the narrow opening. The glow did not come from any electrical source I could think of. Even as I moved toward the entrance, I knew I wanted to be anywhere else but here. A new odor assailed me, far worse than the sour lemons. This was the loving, sweet aroma of something that should have been buried, or better yet, flushed. It literally burned my nostrils. I fumbled for the mask that accompanied the combat armor. Jesus, I thought, what I wouldn't give for a working environment suit. My hands shook as pulled it over my mouth and nose, wondering what horrible, toxic fumes I was breathing. The surge of air from the suit augmented the bad air, but it did little good. The molecules of the toxin were evidently smaller than oxygen molecules and didn't react to any of the filters. I could still smell them right through the mask. Every warning klaxon in my body was screaming, my skin tingled, and the proverbial hair on the back of my proverbial neck jumped up and did some PT. I took a few tentative steps farther in, then I came up short. I'd found the light source. Pools of thick, green liquid bubbled on both sides of me. The stuff was luminescent, probably radioactive. It looked like boiling lava on St. Patrick's Day. I wasn't going to stop and run any experiments, but I had no doubt the gunk would eat right through my combat suit, given enough time. The prudent decision was to stay as far away from the green slime as humanly possible. No sooner had this thought crossed my mind than a ton of bricks slammed into me from the right, knocking the 10mm pistol out of my holster and into the green toxin. Something had decided to run the experiment after all. The 10mm made a hissing sound as it disappeared from view. I didn't care. I had problems of my own. Flipping over, I struggled to get to my feet and bring my big sig cow into play. If I could figure out what the hell hit me. The impact had blurred my vision. I stood up, dizzy, shaking my head. The figure that had hit me so hard stood just out of sight, in the shadows. I assumed it was another zombie, but a stronger one than I had encountered before. Then it cut loose with a hiss, and more of that clicking sound I had been hearing. Well, one little mystery solved. The strength in this zombie inspired greater caution. I rolled my M211 around and skated to the side, waiting for the creature to come to me. He did. As the large body moved into sight, I saw brown, leathery skin, rough like alligator hide, with ivory white horns sticking out from chest, arms, and legs. The head was inhumanly huge, with maddened slits of red for eyes. It was a monster. It was a demon.